Perfect.
Hey, hey,
Good
you
morning.
got, you got, dude,
What?
how's it going?
How's it going?
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you're welcoming me today, which is crazy because I'm the host.
You totally are. Yeah. So man, it's morning.
What?
It is. Oh my gosh, it's morning.
I thought it was second evening.
Is that like second breakfast?
Yes, very similar to
What
second
about
breakfast.
second? I'm gonna have second breakfast today. I already had one. I'm gonna have a second one.
Oh,
I'm feeling saucy.
what kind of breakfast has sauce?
What kind of breakfast doesn't have sauce?
Touche. Is syrup a sauce?
Yeah.
Oh.
you know, you were like a ball of fire today, Joe. I gotta tell you.
Fire. I don't feel like a ball of fire. I feel like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
ball of maybe molasses or ice cubes.
Which those molasses cookies, those are my favorite cookies ever.
Nice. I
Yeah.
I don't know. No, I vote for a stream where both Joes dance for an hour. I don't know that I could
Yes.
do anything for an hour, much less dance.
You could
Yeah,
totally dance for an hour. Just this one. You could do
there's
that for
this
an
one.
hour.
I don't know, Joe.
But
That's
then
like,
after you do that for a while, you start getting excited, and then you're like, okay, and then you start bouncing a little deeper, and then you start going back and forth. You're like,
okay.
oh man, and then you start looking like a moron, you know.
Well, I don't have to go that far. I already look like a moron, so
It's
before we
fun
get to that point, we can just get to the show.
before we get to the moron looking point. Good, all right.
So, welcome everyone. It's the Double Cup of Joe show. I'm your host, Joe.
And I'm the other one.
Yep, he's the other one.
I'm
And
the other.
together we're here to make your morning, afternoon, evening, second evening go right. So today it's Free for All Friday, and you know what that means. I hope you know what that means because I have no idea what it means. But hey, it's that day
It
when we
is.
talk about your topics, the topics that you bring to us, whether they're unusual, different, who really cares? They're wonderful to talk about, and so thanks for sharing. I think today's was from Raka.
It is.
We've titled it "The Mind Body Problem," so it's gonna be fun. We're gonna dive right in, but before we do that, a word from our sponsor. Um, we don't actually have a sponsor, but I'm preparing myself for the day we do have a sponsor.
Where's Kyle? Kyle needs to get on here. He's sponsoring us, really.
What's the one company?
What's that?
Joe's Gas Company. We've got gas.
We've got gas. That's yeah. I need to wear my brother owns a fuel distribution company. I need to promote them because all of you will buy uh some kind of diesel or home heating fuel in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Perfect. We got gas.
We got gas. I think he's gonna be so impressed that I gave him that slogan. Hey, buddy, I made up a slogan for you. Oh, you did? Yeah, we got gas. Uh,
So you might say he could be thankful, which gets us right into our three-step routine. These segues are so clean today. All right.
which
So before we get into our topics, we always like to talk about our three-step routine. It's three steps, and they're very simple. What are you thankful for? What are you looking forward to? And what are you going to do today to move your life forward? Some people in the chat are already cheating, which we
hmm,
totally approve of. Good work. Um,
yeah.
but we also always ask uh, Joe because he's always got something to be thankful for. So we're going to ask Joe right now, and he's going to give us a great example of something he is thankful for.
You know, today it's simple.
Okay.
Crunchy peanut butter. I am thankful for crunchy peanut butter. For some, I don't know what they do to it, but you know how? Have you ever eaten a peanut? Never eaten a peanut.
No.
Wow. Are you allergic to
No,
peanuts?
I just don't like peanuts.
Oh,
I
okay.
have had
Well,
a
so then you
peanut or
have eaten a
two.
peanut if you don't like it. Yeah. But well, somehow I don't know how they do it, but like a peanut to just eat a peanut is, it's good. Well, you obviously don't think so, but it is.
But you're wrong.
but,
Okay. Okay.
but peanut butter, the crunchy peanut butter, somehow those little chunks of peanuts, I think that they're like crispier than actual peanuts, but they are peanuts in there. But something they do while they make the peanut butter, it makes them crispier and they're really good. I was like, I had a spoonful of peanut butter this morning, and I'm so glad it's crunchy because, yeah. And then if you ever feed it to a dog, you can't give crunchy peanut butter to a dog; they freak out. But creamy peanut butter to a dog, and they just sit there and their tongue goes like for like 15 minutes. It's great. Joe, you look thoroughly unimpressed. Like you're supposed, like, come on. You even have a dog now. You can
No,
try this.
no, I think I'm good. I'm good. I think everyone else enjoyed their Joe ASMR, and they might think we're nuts if they didn't already think so.
They
So,
probably do. Okay. Okay. Rocket says deep fry the peanut butter. I agree. I think if you deep fry, like you wrap it in butter, and then you know how I make deep fried butter. Like so, peanut butter and butter, and wrap that in like a Bosco stick, and then deep fry it.
I
I think
I am very uncultured when it comes to food. Is all I've learned from the last 30 seconds.
I made up a new thing. Where's the bacon? Oh, Jeff, we forgot the bacon. Peanut butter and bacon. Wrap the peanut butter and bacon and deep fry that. Ooh, I was like, that's a great way to ruin bacon.
Yeah, that's a great way to ruin bacon. You're absolutely right.
That's okay, Static. You didn't miss much. We're just talking about things that are gross, according to Joe. He doesn't like it.
You guys and your combos of food are just off the
Rock
wall.
is
It
right.
seems like.
Ice cream and bacon is great. It is. You should totally try it. You got vanilla ice cream, right?
Okay, vanilla ice cream. Okay, that's a good
Do you
start.
have
So I know what
do you have
type of
vanilla
ice
ice
cream
cream?
we're starting with. Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
yeah. So start with vanilla ice cream, and then you take it and you crumble up some bacon. Like you cook it. You got to cook the bacon first. Don't take raw bacon and put it
Okay.
on there.
Okay,
So
that's
cook
good
the
good
bacon,
start. Yeah.
crumble it up, put it on your ice cream
Okay.
and maple syrup. Wondrous.
Yep. I'm gonna wonder what that tastes like for the rest of my life. Because I'm never gonna eat it. Um
Yes, it's good.
all right, guys.
There you go. Food combinations. Got another free for all Friday topic.
Oh my goodness. That's gonna be one I definitely don't have any experience with.
Ooh, static. This. A Twinkie. Scoop out the filling. Fill it with ice cream. Wrap it in bacon. Deep fry it. Put maple syrup on it. Put more ice cream on that, and throw on some instant coffee. It actually does sound good. Joe's like, no, it doesn't.
No.
It
No.
sounds awful. Top it with some peanut butter. Be good.
Alrighty then. Well, that's something we can all be thankful for something. It's just never gonna be the same thing, and that's okay. That's okay. So that's what Joe's thankful for. Thanks, Joe, and thanks, Rebecca and Tef, for your participation. Um, Good to see.
Pepperoni. That'd be something.
That's you. Oh boy. Okay, on to step number two.
That was step number one, man. We did good. We dragged that out for a while.
So, okay, step number one, being thankful for something. Joe is thankful for peanut butter and regular butter and ice cream and bacon and all in one combo.
Food.
Yes. Uh, Step number two is what are you looking forward to? And at this point, I'm scared to ask, but Joe, what are you looking forward to?
And for a long time, I was looking forward to step two of the process because it was like taking us so long to get there. It was like the anticipation was killing me. And I'm going to keep it simple. I'm looking forward to second breakfast because I'm
Second
going to
break.
have second breakfast like when we get done with this stream.
Not a bad call.
Yeah, it's going to be good. That's it.
Okay. Hey, wow. Okay, so we're through step number two in like 30 seconds. Great.
Now I could talk about what second breakfast is going to
Yeah, I
have
know. It's gonna have
this
peanut
time. You're like,
butter and ice
don't,
cream
please don't.
and and guys, don't let us fool you. You can take as long or as short as you want. Like there's nothing like this could be a 1 minute routine you spend your morning with. It could be a 3 hour routine. Like we don't care. As long as you, okay, 3 hours might be excessive, but
3 hour.
you're not gonna get anything done with your day if you spend 3 hours on this. But maybe you need to do that once. Like prep yourself. So that's step number two. What are you looking forward to? Step number three is the action step. It's what are you going to do today to either move yourself towards that goal or move yourself forward in general. So, Joe, what are you doing today?
Eating second breakfast.
I need, I need a drink of Pepsi. That's our other sponsor for the day, too.
That's why you know what I was just taking a cue from the chat because we've got people. These we've got Jeff is classic. He does this. Tef also does this. Where it's like, hey, all three steps are the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm thankful for second breakfast. I'm looking forward to second breakfast, and I'm gonna have second breakfast. It's gonna be great.
Yep. Uh,
Other than that, I get to spend time in the studio today. I'm super excited about that. So
the studio. Yes.
studio music, the
Music.
new single duel album that will be coming out the next few months.
Single duel.
Single duel.
Dun, dun. I'm excited.
Ah.
That's what I'm looking forward to. Single duel album.
Lilia, you are not ignored. We love you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. If you ever want our attention, if you want the attention of the chat or whatever, just let us know. We'll shout your name out. Well, I will. Joe will say your name at a consistent volume. I will shout it.
Yep, I. This is my natural and only inflection. Bueller, Bueller. All right.
That'd be interesting. I would be interested to see you get excited. We all have different personality types. This is fun. Like when Joe gets excited, like his eyebrows might go up like this. I don't know about
I
that.
don't think that, I don't think
that
it works.
that looks maniacal. I don't know.
Maybe that's the only way I get excited.
Oh yes.
That is why
No.
they call me the Count.
We love you. We love you all.
Yes, indeed. Oh, thanks for being here. Good to have you. I suppose from here we should probably go to the topic.
We could go into the topic. I have not studied this topic at all. This is going to be kind of a new one. So this is going to be all riffing. It's going to be kind
Joe
of fun.
is over here about to shoot from the hip.
Yep.
Which would...
It's free for all Friday. I could say whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
I can wear whatever I want. I decide to wear this spectacular detective t-shirt. What I really want a Criminal Idol t-shirt like
Mm-hmm.
Ryan has. I want one of those so bad. And I'm about to buy one, but last time I bought something for myself, I got chastised up and down for it. So yeah, like have to talk to the accounting department. Hey, accounting department,
Hi, Joe.
can I buy a shirt?
I I don't care what you do with your personal finances, Joe. Like you should probably wear shirts. That's a good idea. 99% of the time, that's a good idea. But
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
cool, thanks.
Just, if it's a shirt from us, you should just ask ask the other finance department for it. I'm accounting. You have to ask finance for the
I have to
shirt.
ask finance. Yes. Okay. Shirts are overrated. That's right. One of these days, I'm going to come on here shirtless. Actually, no, I'm not.
You're getting people amped for something
That's not amping anyone.
that
Exactly.
we hear how much you talk about all your you know taekwondo and everything. You probably got like ripped.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, I'm not.
This
So
this week is my unripping week.
oh.
Yeah, but it's at an end now. Like every once in a while, I take a week off and let my body recover. I've been basically at pretty strenuous level of exercise for since New Year's, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, so I was like, man, I just finished this cycle of. I generally go in 8-week cycles, but this 8-week cycle went on for a long time, and so I was like, I had to probably take a week and let my body kind of recover. So I did that, and I've also been. It's Easter season. For those of you who didn't realize, Easter is actually a season. It's not just one day. It's 40 days, and it's a feast. So it's 40 days of feasting. Oh, but yeah. So I think I probably gained a little weight this week, but that's okay. Recovery from trampolines. Ha! Yes. The weekends are filled with trampolining.
That, that's fair.
Hmm. Anyway, let's go on to our topic. What do you think?
Okay, sounds good. I posted it in there, the chat, but I don't think it's a link. I think it just ended up as text again.
I
But
don't see anything.
yeah, see, this happens a lot to me. I don't know what the problem is. I
Bunch
blame
this.
Joe's
See
gonna
how
put.
easy that was?
Yeah, yeah, shh. Yeah, yeah. All right. All right, I'm gonna read this topic, and then Joe is gonna give us a great word on what that topic is. So this is from Raka.
I will give one
Uh,
word.
yeah, just one word. I hope it's a good word.
It'll be word.
It should be bird. I think bird is the word.
Bird, bird, bird.
All right. So this is what Raka says. Raka says, since no topic is off limits, I have decided to try and stump everyone with the most difficult topic I could think of. Think off at the moment. I'm both sorry and not sorry for this.
Thanks for your
There you go.
apology and not apology.
I'm bringing to you the philosophical topic of the mind body problem. This is basically about how the correlation between the mind and body, explaining how they could possibly influence each other. This is a huge subject. So, a little bit of research might be necessary to get started. I'll broadly define two main terms: monism, the view that the mind and body are not distinct from each other. Different branches of this belief include, but are not limited to, materialism and idealism. Dualism, the idea that mind and body are separate from each other. Different branches include, but are not limited to, substance dualism and property dualism. There are some belief beyond these, but that should be more than enough to talk about for one episode, or two, maybe three, depending on how much detail you go into. It would be interesting to see the Joes discuss some of the proposed solutions to this problem, the implications of each, and where they stand on the topic. Either that or watch them sit there in complete silence for half an hour. I like both ideas. And then there's a little person, like a person.
Yeah.
Like
I want to
I
know
think
where
it's
those
Joe
come from.
dancing.
I wish I knew somebody please tell me where those cool emoji guys come from. I want to know. So, anyway,
So that is our
this
topic
is
for today. So I am glad Joe is talking first. Is all I have to say on that. So Joe, take it
I'm
away.
I'm just glad we've been given permission to sit in silence for a half hour.
You're right. We should start now though, because I kept talking. So yeah, here we go.
Okay. So this is very interesting. Um, because you're right. Now when you define mind, do you mean like the brain or do you mean like the consciousness of a person? Because that I imagine what in this train of thought we're talking about a person's consciousness, like the person that the what makes up a person as like the immaterial part of us, the conscious part, rather than the material, which is our body and our mind is part of that, right? So, um, I kind of fit into both camps. I think the monism and dualism. I believe there are aspects to both that are true, because I think we are all one. We are a combination of consciousness and material. Like so, there's an immaterial aspect and a material aspect to us. And it's you know they become separated at death, but we are still like naturally we are that combination. Like but if you read a book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, he talks about some distinctive dualistic points of view in there, which like our mind and our body are tools that we've been given. Now, and he talks about the mind as in our brain and our thoughts, and we've got a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. Conscious mind does of all of our like rational problem solving and stuff like that. It takes up about 2,000 neurons. And then the subconscious mind uh, is what controls all of our behind the scenes stuff, right? Like when your heart's beating, you're not thinking about it. Subconscious mind is at work. When you're, breathing, subconscious mind is at work. When you are like what guides your personality and your belief system about yourself and about the world around you, that also is your subconscious mind. So because it's stuff that you don't really pay attention to, but it's the rest of your mind. And that makes up about 2 billion or no, 4 billion neurons. So you've got conscious mind, 2000, subconscious mind, 4 billion. So the ratio, your subconscious mind is like it's way more powerful than your conscious mind. I know this isn't where what you talked about, Raka, but I wanted to impress upon you the importance of at least recognizing your subconscious mind and how so much is going on in the background. And if you're going to fully utilize, this person that you are, your subconscious mind is such an important part to that. And how you do that, this is why it's important to do things like meditate and to visualize. And we've talked about on Don't Worry Wednesday. I'm sure we've talked about it in this show too. Like when you visualize something to get all of your senses involved, so you can get yourself into like a time when you're daydreaming or something, and you can just like close your eyes and think and imagine things, with all of your senses. Now your subconscious mind is working. It's picking that up. Your subconscious mind speaks in pictures and it speaks in feelings, speaks in that whole being aspect. And then it will treat whatever you imagine vividly like that. It'll treat it like it's an actual memory. So you can create memories for yourself that did not even exist. Or a guy that was saying, I have found, I think it was Jim Rohn, who said, I have discovered that I can feast on my own intellect. So in that way, he is never bored. There's another guy, there was a general. He ended up being imprisoned in Vietnam. Forget who this guy was. I totally forget his name. But the story is that he played golf in his mind every day while he was imprisoned for like 4 years in this Vietnamese camp, right? And what happened was when he got out of prison, he came back and actually played a round of golf. He was better. He played better than he did before because he had all this mental practice. They've done studies where they've had basketball teams practice free throws. One group just practiced free throws. One group didn't even practice, right? One group practiced free throws for like a half an hour, like every day for a certain period of time. Another group practiced they didn't practice at all. They just sat and they imagined practicing free throws and they imagined making every free throw while they were while they were doing this mental exercise, right? So two groups didn't practice. They had three groups, right? One group that didn't practice at all, one group that practiced every day, one group that didn't practice, but they imagined practicing. And the group that showed the most improvement was the ones that imagined making every free throw. And that's just how powerful, like our subconscious mind, so powerful in guiding our body. And it brings things to reality. It really does control a lot of what we do. So anyway, that's what I got to start with. Joe, I want to hear what you have to say now.
Um, are you sure those were the results of the study before I
I was
go
pretty sure. I could be wrong.
on?
Correct me if I'm wrong.
My understanding was because we used to I was a golf pro, so we had this same thing. So we've heard like this story that you discussed. Like that's all part of teaching and helping people understand the game. But it was my understanding this study had four different groups of participants. You
Oh,
had people who didn't study. You had people who didn't practice. You had people who practiced free throws. You had people who just mentally practiced, and then you had people who mentally practiced and did free throws.
oh yeah, you're probably
And
right.
then the hierarchy was if you didn't practice at all, you were obviously the worst.
Right.
If you mentally practiced, you were better than the people who didn't, but you were less than the people who actually practiced the free throws themselves.
Okay,
And the people who did both were by far the best.
gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Anyway,
Joe's our resident fact checker. He's gonna be awesome. Well, Joe and Jeff both. Jeff, yeah, we got all kinds of fact checking. That way, when I open my mouth, make sure.
no, the only reason I say that is because what we're about to get into very heavily depends on your understanding of how your mind and body work. Like, no matter what we're about to say from either end, you know, obviously Joe and I aren't the most experienced in this topic. Like, this isn't something we deal with in what I'm reading about on the idea of monism, dualism, and the mind body topic is it's more of a philosophical thing than anything else. More of a mind exercise. It's not even like there's not really a right answer here. um, and one philosophical questions are fun. They're fun to ask ourselves, but I've held very strongly that you could take the vast majority of philosophers out of like world history and you'd probably still be fine because they don't really advance you very far. They just don't. Like it's a great question. Like how much does your mental consciousness versus like affect your physical reality and things like that? But I mean, regardless of whether or not your mental reality affects your physical state, or they're just one state, it doesn't matter because they're both affecting the physical reality of everyone around you. So it doesn't like well, no matter which conclusion you actually come to, in theory, it's not going to really change the reality. Like if you believe the mind and the body are one thing, then whatever it does is going to affect reality. That's how it works. If you believe they're different, but your mental state can be completely different than your reality, but it affects your reality, then they still both affect your reality. So we've come back to the same conclusion, but we've said it a different way. So philosophical questions generally end that way. Like which came first, the chicken or the egg? It really doesn't matter. Like you still have a chicken at the end of the day. Like it really, if there's no, the end result is the same thing. Like it's interesting to think about, but at the end of the day, it doesn't change a whole lot. And so, this isn't to say it's a bad question. I think it's a great question. I think it's something that having these exercises where you think constructively and think, in different ways is really good. But to just not actually get caught up too far on it. Um, all that to say, in terms of where I think I stand, I think it's probably more of monism. Probably just because I think one of the monisms was idealism, and I think of myself as an idealist. Um, but I don't know. I think it would be really hard to disconnect the mind and the body. It's really hard. Like, and really, most psychologists would probably tell you if you disconnect your mind from your body, there are severe mental and physical consequences of doing such a thing. Like, you could in theory have like. Go ahead, Joe. You seem like you.
I was just wondering to define separate.
Like, you could like if you
take your brain out of a body or something?
no,
Like, 'cause
well, yes, if you
that'll do
physically
it.
separate your brain from your body, there are severe life consequences for doing that.
Yeah.
I'm, we're, yeah, that is, oh my
Next
goodness.
Captain Obvious over here.
Uh,
Sorry. Anyway, so what do you? So yeah, explain that. Explain what the separation is.
so what I'm talking about is not like the physical separation of your brain. It is the idea that you would take your mental thought process and remove it from like your body entirely.
Okay.
Like you're just not thinking about your body. You think of your body as a separate organ, even though your brain is literally inside of it.
Yeah,
You
it's part
start
of
to like, oh, this is just a physical item. and I am separate of it here in my brain. One of the things that you start to get into is you start to devalue the body portion, because as you're thinking, um, you don't really, your body again is all subconscious. So as you start to separate that, it can be a little dangerous, because the fact of the matter is your body affects your brain. In terms of, if you think like, hey, I need to separate my mind from my body, and like my body really doesn't affect my mind. Um, but you always wonder why you're tired, but you don't exercise. Like, you don't do things that upkeep your health. You're like, my brain is always exhausted and I can't figure out why.
Hmm.
It's because truly your body affects your mind. Now there are, you can tell, well, what about the Dalai Lama and all these monks who can go like 40 days without eating or whatever? And I'm like, okay, like you're talking about like one in 20 million people who can like have some kind of abnormal type bodily function that allows them to do that. That isn't you. Like, I'm sorry if it is you. Like, congratulations, you've achieved enlightenment. But for the rest of us, um, it's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with saying like, hey, I need food to eat so that my brain functions properly. There's nothing wrong with saying I need to get some sleep so that my brain functions properly. Like, those are normal human interactions between your mind and your body. Um, so I, I, think whatever you want. Like, it's a great philosophical question to ask yourself of, are these two separate? Like, hey, can I use my brain to overcome some physical limitations? Certainly, certainly you can. And I'm not going to dissuade you from doing that, but it's, be very careful. Be very, very careful with this topic. So that's what I wanted to say. Um, and this would be a great time to tell me that, like, Joe, you're just not, you, whatever you said, great, just that wasn't what we were talking about. You can tell me that. I again, we're not mind body monks. We haven't studied this topic for years, so
I think you were closer to being on topic than I was. Because but you're right, there is a connection there. There totally is a connection. Like I'm reminded of, one of the authors that I used to promote all the time, Hal Elrod. He talked about some of this stuff, right? And he would talk about how it blew his mind when when his buddy he was like having all this mental stress and all these problems and everything, and his buddy said, "Are you exercising?" He's like, "No, I don't have time to exercise. I got all this stuff I got to do." He's like, well, duh, you're stressed out because you're not exercising." And so that enlightened him to that connection, that yes, physical exertion improves your mental health. It's crazy. But then also, mental exertion can improve your physical health if you do it right. Because I've done that before. Like when I quit smoking cigarettes, I there was this whole self hypnosis meditation thing that went along with this program to quit smoking, and um and I would lay there every day for like a half an hour. I would go into this trance like state. There's this guided, deep breathing and everything like that, and get to this point where you kind of feel like your mind and your body are separated because you're in this relaxed state that you're so relaxed that you feel like your body isn't even there, right? So you don't really feel your body anymore, and you're deep into your mind basically. And so then you're feeding yourself images into your subconscious mind. It's like basically when you get to that point in that deep meditative relaxation state, you're in direct connection with your subconscious mind. And so you can feed yourself images of how you want your life to be. And that's what they were there. They're like saying, feed yourself images of clean air and clean water and breathing deeply and exercising and doing all these things that you wouldn't be able to do if you were, still smoking. And so you start feeding yourself these images, and really like going through that process helped heal my body and get rid of my addiction to smoking. So like, yeah, so there is such a huge connection between your mind and your body, and they really are in a way. I like to think when I look at this, I think we're both, you know. We are not just a mind in control of a body, and we are not just a body in control of a mind. It's a connected thing. Like we are one being, and we have all of these things at our disposal to use, and they all affect each other, like, and not just the mind, but the heart, lungs, the eyes, nose, the tongue, which says peanut butter is good. Joe's tongue doesn't work properly.
That's okay.
My tongue doesn't work properly because I'll say something wrong bunch. But
Oh, okay.
but yeah, I think I really like this topic because it lends itself to diving into things. But I also really, really like what Joe was talking about. One of the main premises of what he was saying is like at the end of the day, a lot of these questions, what you got to do, the important part of a question is how's it going to affect your life? And like he was saying, there's a lot of philosophy that's just like, okay, that's deep thought and that's great to ponder, but it's not really going to change the way your life is unless you do something. So you better so like figure out how to do something. If there's a bit of philosophy that inspires you to change your actions, then that philosophy is useful for you. If it changes your actions in a positive way, in a virtuous way. If it's just something that causes you to sit and think and do nothing, then maybe it's not that good of a useful philosophy. All it's doing is making you sit. Why step 3 of the 3-step process is action. Why what we were talking about this whole week was action. Because philosophy is great as it becomes useful for you. If it causes you to take action, it causes you to think differently about what you can do and what the possibilities are for you, so that it inspires you to do something great for yourself and for the world around you and everything like that. That is very useful philosophy. If it causes you to retreat into a mental state and not really do anything, um, then all right, or if it causes you to sit there and brood and spread a bunch of negative energy in the world, which there is some philosophy that's like that, that can make people, just this, have this defeatist mentality and have this, there's like, what is it, nihilism or something like that, where it's like nothing ever matters, nothing counts, it's just like, hey, we're all just hurtling towards death and nothing's gonna matter ever, which like I don't find that to be very useful philosophy because it just seems to decrease the value of the world around me. So I would, yeah, I love what you were getting at, Joe, because that's so important. Anytime we're talking about philosophical situations, the philosophical thing we're talking about, you need to analyze that. How does it make you feel about what you're going to be doing for in the world? How does it make you feel about your goals and your dreams and who you are and what you're capable of? Because that's what's going to determine if that philosophy. Uh, any more sage wisdom like that, Joe?
Nah, I don't really have much more to go in on it. I think there's some really intriguing things. This idea of like consciousness, what defines consciousness, and these other things. Um, Again, I think that's a really dangerous way to start approaching human life on a level of like consciousness versus unconsciousness and things like that. I don't like it specifically because there are limits, right? I mean, what like Joe talks about, a lot of humanity is unconscious thought. I think you said, I forget your numbers that you threw out there, but it was significant amounts of your life are subconscious thought. You don't actually need to think about it. And it's because you've thought about it beforehand. Tara in our messages just earlier said your body can learn its own things with muscle memory. To an extent, like your brain has to say, let's go do this thing multiple times, and then you develop muscle memory. Like, you don't remember it, but as a child, you were like, I'm going to go walk to mom. And then you did it. And then you did it. And then finally, your body just remembers on its own. And most of us can walk without thinking. But there was a point at which your brain had to say, I need to do this thing to make it
I
happen.
need to balance. I need to like pick up one foot without falling over. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully now you're not struggling with that, but I can see where that could still be a problem for. So I mean, there's so much that goes into this idea of what makes up humanity. Like, is this your consciousness? But I think that's very dangerous to separate your consciousness from your body, because you get into some really really interesting moral dilemmas when you start to do that. It's really easy to stay away from moral dilemmas when you just say, yes, this is a person with a consciousness and a body right here in front of me. Like, it's much harder to get into a. But when you say, well, is it a conscious person? Like that really shouldn't matter. It really shouldn't. There are lots of people end up unconscious for one reason or another. When you're sleeping, you're technically not conscious. Like, using consciousness instead of, you know, one, using dualism instead of monism to define humanity is a very dangerous thing to do. Which, again, this is an interesting topic. It's interesting to think about, but I don't think this is one that you want to get into. Like, this is how I need to characterize my life. I'd be very careful to do that with many, many philosophical questions. Because I've been down that road. I've seen I've talked to a lot of people who've had philosophy degrees where they were going into philosophy, um, and some people it's okay, but for a lot of people, like I've watched it do some really scary things to like how they think about the world. So, uh, this is my personal experience. I'm not telling you that maybe yours isn't different because it very well could be, but I would be very very careful. So that's all I have to say on the topic. Thanks Raka for sharing. It's
Yeah.
it's very intriguing. If you want, you can Google it, take a look. Um, as always, like there's mental exercises. Like we have a brain. You can use it. Like you can look at things and say, maybe this is useful, maybe it's not, because you have a brain. It works. Hopefully, it works very well, and you
Yeah.
can.
Intriguingly enough. Sorry, Joe. I interrupted you.
You're good. You sound like you had something good to say.
I do because I do. I do. I always have something good to say. You should know this by now. Even if it's wrong, I'll say it awesomely. Um, uh, one of the interestingly enough, the best book I've ever read about the power of our mind was Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. This guy, he's a doctor, right?
Hmm.
But the plastic surgeon. So even though he wrote one of the best books about the mind, his practice was all about bodily aesthetics, right?
Hmm.
So here's a guy who his whole profession was based on the body, but he wrote one of the best books about the mind because what he noticed that even when you improve somebody's physical appearance, right? Because that's what he would do. He would repair, like when people were damaged in accidents, all kinds of stuff, right? Even if you repair that physical, problem, if they don't fix their mind, they still go around believing that they have the physical. They live as if they still have that physical disfigurement or whatever, right? And so he was like, So because he started noticing this dysphoria between that, he's like, like, so I fixed this problem, but they're still living as though they have it. Like he started to discover and study what our mind actually the role our mind plays in all this. So you start to figure out, yes, we are one whole. And yeah, so I just thought that was an interesting point. So sorry.
Thanks, Joe. And it gets back to something I've talked about on the show before. It's this idea of cognitive dissonance, where what you do and what you think are two different things. If you operate under a monistic view, I guess is the way I'm going to word that. Your mind and your body will have to be one. Like it's just one of the two shuts it out. So like what you do physically is going to change your thinking, or what you do thinking is going to change what you do physically. Like they're interconnected. They're not going to change. If you take a dualistic view, you can, in theory, have your mind thinking something completely different than what your body is actually doing, and it starts to wear on your mind. It's why I said it was dangerous to do this, was because what you'll have is your mind or your body will start to break down because one of the two isn't getting what it actually needs. And there's numerous psychologists that can tell you. I haven't heard this other doctor that you're talking about, but many will tell you if you can't get through the mental aspect, it doesn't matter what you change physically. It won't matter. Um, Statistically speaking, I think it's um, that without getting into some crazy stuff, like people who have gender reassignment surgery, like they're a good, very good percentage. I think it's almost like 40 to 50%. Even after they have the reassignment, their mental state doesn't improve. So don't don't disconnect your mind and your body because it can be very dangerous. It has some very real repercussions. So um, that's why I've held that position. Again, it's a philosophical question. You can look at it from any different way that you want, but the reason that I hold to what I have is the results of looking at it one way generally, not always, have some very negative real consequences. So be safe with your philosophy. It's a tool. Use it wisely, and that's where I'm going to leave that for this week. So I really
Nice.
appreciate the question, Raka. It is fantastic. Like don't ever feel like I don't know where you sit on whatever your thing. Don't feel like if I have a disagreeing viewpoint that I am any way upset with your questions. If that's how you feel about this, like it's great. Like we love to talk about this stuff. We love to have free for all Fridays. It's
Yeah.
a ton of fun. Um, I
I disagree with you, Joe.
well, that's fine. You can totally do that, but I'm the host,
I've
so I'm gonna keep
got a
going.
great
uh, but I,
Nice. Hey, good.
I,
We did good. He said we did good.
all right, cool. If for whatever reason you think I'm really like toned down and like back, for some reason I woke up today and like I'm really congested and I was extra tired this morning. So, but I'm not. I'm not really trying to be like super downer this morning. It's just this is where my breathing and my talking is going to be at. So, um, so
This is
that
my impression of Joe today.
I'm very down. Yes. Um,
Hey, you got something exciting to talk about, Joe. I know
I,
you do.
I do. It's
Yeah.
the what is it? I want to make sure what you think I'm about to talk about is the same thing I'm about to talk about. Because
No, this is gonna be fun. Let's see if we're thinking about the same thing. You just
okay,
spew it.
well, I was gonna say today we opened up our 3DC, our 3 day challenge, which is a
That's it.
perfect. We're on the same wavelength. We had to plug it shamelessly here at the end of our show. It's our sponsorship for today. The 3 day challenge. If you didn't know, it's a project that BSS has been working on for a couple of months now, where we're putting
Couple of
together.
months. Has it been that long?
We started the conversation about 2 months ago, but like it finally came into like reality. Like,
Lots happened in that 2 months.
yeah, a lot has happened around here in 2 months. In case you didn't notice, like we started the show, mm, Joe finished the book. Yeah, Ryan, it might have been a month. I know we've discussed like the generalities of this topic for around a month plus, but um, this is a topic where we said we want to get some projects done. We want to accomplish many, many things. And guess what? We've talked about on this show. Life is finite. It's very short, and you don't have a whole lot of time to do it. So what we said is, hey, if we want to get some stuff done, maybe we need to shorten our windows. Maybe we need to make our gaps a little bit smaller. So today we're presenting to you the 3 day challenge. It's on bss.studio, and our first challenge is about writing a story of virtue. You can go look at it, bss.studio. But we're challenging you to write a story, a short story, a long story. I guess if you can finish a long story in 72 hours, go for it. Where you discuss one of the virtues, something uplifting, something that builds people up, whether it's patience, kindness, sacrifice. Um, I think it's generosity, the way I worded it on the topic. But if you take one of those topics, write a story about it, and then we want to make that come to reality. So if you take the next 72 hours, starting from, well, 8 hours ago, midnight Eastern, on today, through midnight between Sunday night and Monday morning, write a story.
Hmm?
Write something that you're proud of, something that you really want to do, and we'll make it come to reality. Something that you can see, a story that you can go, oh man, I really liked what I wrote here. And then BSS is going to say, hey, we'd like to turn that into a YouTube video or some kind of visual auditory production.
A multimedia extravaganza.
See, yes, multimedia extravaganza. Joe's got it. So please go to bss.studio, take a look at the topic, write a story. I've done our Inktober contest for 2 years now.
Hmm.
There are many people who've written some very, very wonderful stories on just the day to day topics, and it was usually very short, like one to 2 pages. You've got 72 hours. What can you do in 3 days? If you get a lot of stories, how are you going to turn it into a multimedia extravaganza? Great question, Jonah. What we have is the ability to do many, many things. Obviously, our favorites go to the front of the line. We can only produce so many things at a time. So make it good. Like make something fantastic so that we can say, oh, we want to start with this because it's it's great. Um, I think that's what the contest is about. That's what the challenge is. How great of something can you write in 72 hours? And then it's on us to have 72 hours. Well, we've always said a little bit longer than that, but to make it come into fruition. We have 72 hours for 3 day challenge for the story. And then maybe we have a 3 day challenge for the art that we need for the story. And then maybe we have a 3 day challenge for writing lyrics for a song that we have. There are a number of these that are going to come out in the near future, but what we wanted to say was this is the first one. Because having these stories, having these ideas down, gives us a launching point to be able to do many, many multimedia extravaganzas.
Yes, exactly. And I was just thinking, I just had this thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we could have the BSS universe. Have it. We're building the BSS universe. Like the Marvel universe. If you look at all these Marvel movies that came out with different backstories of all these characters, and then they all got combined, and like all these people came together. Few of these, like they're all kind of interconnected. Like, so if you guys have stories that revolve around a character, that'd be great. And then we can like somehow, wouldn't it be cool if we somehow took these stories of these different backstories of these characters and everything, and then we started putting them together in like this whole universe of stuff, all, and then we're all kind of working together on stuff. That was just a thought. It could be a terrible thought. I have plenty of those, but um, that was just.
It could be. We're leaving it up to you. Like it can be your story. Like whatever you write. Like if it's an extended BSS universe, fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Oh, Haley,
Or
Haley, don't let AP English destroy your confidence in writing. Because here's the interesting thing: Robert Kiyosaki, he's a best-selling author. You know what he said? He told this one writer. You know what he said to this one writer to do? He said, "You should go get a job in sales and learn how to learn selling." Talking about I'm a writer. He's like, "Yeah." You'll notice next to my name it says best-selling author. It doesn't say best writing author.
yep.
So hey, if you can, I've read some of your stuff, Haley. I know you can write. Don't let some teacher tell you that.
Yeah. Haley has written some fantastic stuff, even on our Inktober contests. So
Hmm?
this has been
Yep.
really really cool. Um. So, Tef, if you think you can write a horror story with some virtue in there, good luck. Good luck. I haven't seen it, but good luck.
A horror
I'm
story of virtue. Well, that'd be fun.
that would be a trip. That would really be a trip. So I'm not trying to limit it. Like go go for it. I set up the topic. Like obviously if it doesn't fall in the ramifications of what we're going for, we're probably not gonna make it. But give it a shot. Like this is an opportunity for you to just go for something. To like you have 3 days to make the best thing you can think of. And hey, maybe we don't get it, but maybe somebody else does. And unless you write it, unless you make it happen, nobody's gonna know. So
And who knows? Maybe we'll get to produce a bunch of them. Maybe we'll produce all of them. Depends on how many we get. You know, who knows? We'll probably have to do one at a time because we have limited staff. However, we are also getting to know an increasing number of artists, an increasing number of musicians, and all of these different roles go into the process of creating these things. Oh man, how cool would it be to have us all get to work together? I think that'd be so sweet. I was really, really excited when Joe was like, "Hey, we're gonna roll it out now," and I was like, "Already?" I
yep.
was like, "Oh my gosh!"
All
I was like,
right.
"Okay, let's roll it out, man." It was like this show. It was like, "Hey, do you want to start? When do you want to start? Like next week or something?" He's like, "No, now. Let's start now." I was like, "All right, okay."
So
He's like, "What's the difference?
mhm.
We wait a week and we still feel weird about it."
Yep. So tell your friends. Tell everyone you know. Like let's just go for it. And we'll see what you guys come up with. Um I don't mean to cut it short. I actually have to physically go to work today though, so
Oh my gosh, yeah, you're late.
way past late, but that's okay. It happens. So just wanted to reach out to you guys, let you know, hey, 3 day challenge starts today. It runs through midnight, Sunday night,
Hmm,
Eastern Standard Time. So
the
everyone,
clock is ticking.
yeah, everyone who's east of East, you have a little bit less time. Good luck.
Yeah,
Sorry, I did
technically.
announce it on the website, which is why you should be there. You go to bss.studio and register so that you can know things
Well,
before they happen.
well,
Little
now that
plug.
we're doing this first one, all the subsequent ones, I think we'll probably be able to promote them a little bit more. So, we'll be able to get the word out a little bit more. But this first one, we were just like, hey, here it is. Welcome. So you've been at it now for 8 hours and 6 minutes, just so you know.
Hmm.
You might not have realized you were doing this already for 8 hours and six, but you have.
Good work. And
Good work.
good work. These last 8 hours, you've done well. 64 hours.
Uh,
Hey, and
awesome.
you never know. I like the thread, but like, hey, when we're done with the 3 day challenge, like that's where we're gonna look. But that doesn't mean you can't continue to help us. Continue to showcase your talents. Like there's literally nothing that's preventing you from going on the website and saying, "Here's my story."
Right,
Like,
exactly.
go for it. Like, I've we would love to see that. There really isn't anything that's prevented us from just grabbing something and running and talking to somebody and saying, "Hey, can we run with your idea?" Like, we'd love to, but this is just a challenge to get you excited about the fact that hey, you can create something amazing. Love to see it. So, thank you all for being here. It has been a wonderful free for all Friday.
Yeah, thank you.
Please share your topics with us. Go to bss.studio under the Double Cup of Joe topic. Uh, Share your free for all Friday topics. We'd love to have some interesting things to talk about. We already have some interesting things to talk about, and I am really excited about those coming up. Again, we're happy to talk about anything, like really anything. I
Yep.
had no idea what the heck this was until legitimately I was reading about it while Joe was talking on the first section
So you
there.
had
I
preparation.
had a little bit of preparation. Uh,
Nice.
and I think Joe handled it really well. Um,
I did.
and that's what's going to
I
happen.
think I think Joe handled it well too.
um, and I think that's going to happen with a lot of these. For a lot of these topics that we face, we're just not going to know. We're not going to be able to spend a whole lot of time researching a lot of them, which might be more fun for you to watch us just shoot from the hip and go for it. Um, because
Test our vast knowledge.
yeah, thankfully, almost all of you have kind of described your topic to us, which has been great because if you would have said the mind body problem, we could have come up with something like all you say is mind body problem go. I think we would have come up with something completely different. And
Yeah.
so that might have been a little bit interesting. So we appreciate you guys kind of trying to describe for us that we're not completely butchering what you think your topic's going to be about. So, um, yeah, Lunar, it is. We just straight improv on the show, which is good. I think one of the great things about this show, what you see from Joe and I, is really just us. There isn't a production value. We're not trying to dissuade you of any specific thing. Um, we're actually just hey script that we're talking about. We have a bit of like a format, but that's just for content. It has like we could just we could have a different 3 step routine. It's easy for us to understand, butcher it all the time. It's easy for you to understand because we butcher it all the time. So
What's the 3-step process? It's actually a 6-step process because each in between each step you get distracted.
yep. So
That's a step.
but that
Ah.
uh,
Anyway, Joe, you gotta go. We gotta go.
yeah, we do have to go. So
Yep.
thanks everyone for being here. We will catch you on the flip side.
Flip flop.